Hello, this is Matthew Heseltine, and today we will be going over the Sprint 2 report for Computer Science 322. This is for Group 3, which consists of myself, Jaeger Nelson, Katie Brickner, and Beck Williams. The project that we are working on is the Roommate Finder application. This consists of a series of surveys that the user, who is meant to be an incoming college freshman, takes in order to get sort of an image of their personality and behavior. The results from these surveys will be used to match them with other freshmen who they would be most compatible with as roommates. This is done with the use of a grading algorithm and a student database. So, Sprint 1 was completed some time ago and was focused primarily on creating the foundation for the front end and back end of the project. With that done, our group was able to start work on the logic surrounding the user profile. The user profile is super important for this project because it has a lot of information associated with it, like usernames, passwords, and survey results. It involves a lot of CSV files and is going to be used throughout basically every single step of the project, like when the application is actually running. So it's super important that we focused on all the classes and issues associated with the user profile for this sprint. So now we are going to go over the sprint backlog for our project. This is our GitHub page here. Here we have create general survey. Most survey functionalities we are saving for Sprint 3. This will be the main part of the application that that the user interacts with, but can't function until a lot of the things we completed in this sprint are done. So that's why it's in the backlog. Next, we have the need for more personalized surveys. The aim of these surveys is to capture the personality and behavior of the user. So these surveys need to be pretty fleshed out. Next, we have student ID verification. As you'll see in the code demonstration, we have functionality for a login that takes a username and password. If we are assuming that all these students are freshmen, then it would also be nice if we took a student ID as well. Also must verify that a student picture is appropriate. We also have functionality for accepting images. You'll also see that in the demonstration. But we also need to figure out some way to make sure that the images that are being uploaded for the user profiles are appropriate. And then over here we have the UI for the general survey. This is ready because we've done a lot of work on the front end and the back end with the user profile and just the foundation of the code. So we're about ready to start creating the user interface for it. And then next sprint, we're going to be focusing on actually making the algorithms and logic associated with crunching the numbers for the surveys and producing the surveys as well. Must match user using the general survey. This is the main algorithmic part of the software that's going to be matching the survey results from the user with the other students that we have in the database. And then save user login info. So there's going to be a lot of information associated with the user. Obviously, we have usernames, passwords, student IDs, but we also have biographies, images, and the results from the 3 surveys that we have planned. So it's a lot of information that needs to be stored. And so it's not as simple as just saving username and password and recognizing that later. And here we have everything that has escaped the backlogs. In progress here, we have the Create Survey Hub. This was something that I actually picked up in Sprint 1 and then realized there isn't much that can be done with it until the actual surveys are completed. So it's kind of just a skeletal form right now. And then Fix Student Profile UI. I believe this is Katie working on this. She's been working very well with the front end for a while now. In review, we have must save user login info for new users. We've kind of been working on this in conjunction. I was working with a logout functionality, as you'll see in the code demonstration, and we've just been working a lot with the user profile. And it looks like this has been completed, but still needs some testing going on, which is a common theme with a lot of the stuff that we have going on currently. And then completed over here, we have Add Homepage UI. This was seen in Sprint 1, as well as the list of matches, and everything else down here. Most of this was completed in Sprint 1. Down here we have the add user logout, which will be seen in my demonstration, and then also save matches on logout, and the upload of the picture, which we will see in the code demonstration, which is coming up right next.
All right, Beck, I want to go over what I did this sprint. So I created the functionality to allow us to create new user profiles and then save the information to the database. So it starts on the login form. When you hit the button, it will uh, grab all the text from or it will pop up the new user form, and then the user will enter in all their data that they need. When they hit submit, it will send an event out to update the login form. The login form will grab that information and then call the specific events to call the specific methods to create new users, which will then go in, create everything, and then save it to the respective CSV files within the password manager. It will update the respective dictionaries so it can be accessed throughout the rest of the program. And that's basically it. Pretty simple. Here's a demo for it. Just go ahead, create profile. You can type in, anything. Let's do yellow and then banana. And then this is bio. Hit submit. Works out. Type it over here. And bam, it logs us in. Go to profile and see that it updated properly and everything. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to talk about what I've accomplished for Sprint 2 with features. So the first feature I implemented was allowing students to upload their their picture to their profile. And I also allowed new users to create an account on the Roommate Finder application. One of the things I'm still in progress on throughout really the entirety of this project is fixing the UI, not just the student profile UI, but also the homepage UI and soon the login UI as well. But those are non-functional features, so they're not really necessary for our application to actually function. So it's not necessarily a priority at this time. So first, I'll demonstrate how creating a user profile, how that works. So as you can see, we got 3 preloaded profiles and passwords for users. If I launch the application, create profile in the top left corner, I'll say new user, password, and again, security is a non-functional feature. So this will become a lot more relevant in Sprint 3 when we implement the general survey, when information, like contact information, would be a lot more relevant, as well as the biography to help with that compatibility score for Sprint for the general survey. So as you can see, these CSV files got uploaded with that new user information. So the user should be able to log in to their account now. Right. And I also fixed the match list so it actually shows individuals that a CSV file is generated for the matches that the user is compatible with. And when you click on them, right now it just says like you selected John Doe, but when Sprint 3 comes around, when that general survey is completed, we'll be able to include compatibility score and user contact information, which will be fabricated for the sake of demonstration. Now I'll show what my implementation was. Of course, this was completed in Sprint 1, but you can also modify the username and the biography, change those two implements. And this is what I added, which is upload a photo. So if you get a minute, yep, like an arbitrary stock photo image I downloaded can now be shown on the profile page. So that's what I did for Sprint 2. Thing I would like to mention, so I created the services folder with the services needed in order to get the Cloudinary, which was the database that I used to store the photo, to get that to work. Cloudinary settings, and it's in here. Yeah, and this is everything. This is the information that I needed to get. Again, Realistically, with an actual application, this obviously wouldn't be stored hard coded like this, but since security isn't our priority at this time, this is how I set up the upload the photo. Right. And that is what I completed for Sprint 2.
Hi there, this is Jager Nelson. During Sprint 2, I worked on the issue of saving matches on logout. This requires us to save any generated match to matches.csv upon logging out. My first step was to create a function that clears all matches to ensure there's no overlap when we make a save. Next, I made a function called save matches, where we create our stream writer that we're able to save any match that we have to. Secondly, I created a function generate matches, where in this case we are just generating random pre-made matches to save, as our ability to create matches through a survey is not yet online. It's not yet implemented. And then finally, we have our function that puts everything together. We're able to clear before we save, and then create a number of new matches between these random users. After the matches are generated, we are able to save them to the matches.csv file as we call this function upon logging out, right next to saving user data. When it is ran, we should see this file be updated.
Okay, this is Matthew again, and I'm going to be going over the code that I made for Sprint 2. So it involves the class for managing the logging out process for a user and saving the username and password and biography associated with that user. So here is the class for that, and then here it gets the file path for the CSV file. We also have a check here to make sure that the username is not null. And then we have functionality here to open up the file, and then it reads everything in the file to look for a duplicate username. This is because we do not want a new user profile to be written multiple times, right? So it goes through the CSV file, looks for a matching username. If it doesn't find a matching username, which we have right here, it actually creates a new line that includes the username and the biography. If it does find the username, then it updates it, overwrites the line that the username was found on. So if a biography was changed, then it can update that. And then it also puts all of the lines that it has read back into the file. And that's about it. And this is the same functionality that was used as a foundation for the saving and generating matches in that folder. Thank you. Okay, so that was our code demonstration. So we made a lot of progress for this sprint. It said on the syllabus for this sprint report that we should have about 75% of it done. I think we have a little bit lower than that done. A lot of the work that's going to be done in the next sprint is going to include the functionality for the surveys, and that's kind of the main part of the software. But despite that, I think the amount of time that we've put into it is greater than the amount of time that we're going to put into the next sprint. Even though it's the main part of the code, so much foundation is required in order to even get a survey working, that it shouldn't be that much work. So we might be sort of around 75%. Something we want to improve is a little bit more of our communication. As you saw in the code demonstration, we had a bit more overlap in the issues that we are working on, just because we're kind of narrowing down the amount of issues that we have. So we're going to start overlapping on each other and stuff like that. And we just don't want to make any more work for ourselves by modifying each other's code and whatnot, and having to backtrack at some point in case we weren't consistent enough with each other. So yeah, but there isn't that much more to be done, and we're pretty happy with the amount of progress that we've made so far. Yeah, and now we've reached our conclusion. So I believe we made a lot of good progress. We're going to kind of enter the testing phase for next sprint. There's a lot of code that we have written, and it's all going to be interconnected now, and we need to make sure that everything functions properly as it should. So a lot of overlap there. In addition to that, the next sprint, we're going to be really fleshing out the survey functionality. And that's going to take a good amount of time, and it might be a little difficult to balance those two things, the testing of work that we've created previously, in addition to creating and testing new survey functionality. But we should have enough time and enough energy to do it. We have a pretty good group. We're pretty happy with the work that we've done so far. So yeah, thank you for watching.